to the NXT Podcast, your home for weekly NXT reviews and insight.
The beautiful part of NXT is that when one dream ends, another dream begins.
Find all of your NXT news, recaps, and analysis right here. So with that being said, we only have one question for you.
Are you ready?
We thought so. Let's get the show started right now.
Hey guys, it's Jay. Welcome to the NXT review for February 18th, 2025. This is coming off of the heels of Vengeance Day, and I apologize for not doing the Vengeance Day review. It was a crazy weekend. Lots of snow up here. Just got a new cat, so I've been spending time with her, and it's been a crazy time. But I will tell you that Vengeance Day was an awesome PLE. If you haven't seen it yet, please watch it. Yeah, I mean, it was great. Like the Fraxium match against Briggs and Takamura was really good. The Fatal 4-Way for the women's title was excellent, just non-stop action. And then, to be honest, probably the match that had the least amount, that was least for me, was the Stephanie Vakura match, where actually she won the NXT North American title. And yeah, so she, and that was a great match, don't get me wrong, but that was a match that probably of all of them just wasn't as entertaining as the rest of them. And and then the very end, again, if you've seen it, or if you haven't seen it already, I'm going to ruin something, but at the very end, you had Jordan Grace walk out, and then to have Jordan, Julia, and Stephanie in the middle of the ring at the end of Vengeance Day was just, it's a sign of times to come, pretty much. So, but I'm here to talk about Tuesday night's NXT episode. It was February 18th, as I said before. It held from the Performance Center in Winter Park, Florida. And it was, let me tell you, for a standard episode that was done in the NXT Performance Center arena, it was a great episode. It was nonstop action the whole time. Even when there wasn't a match going on, there was just so much going on. And we're going to go through as much as we can. Just so you all know, on Wednesday nights, I have a commitment that I've been doing. It's actually a league where I play darts with a bunch of guys. And it's a Wednesday night commitment, but it's going to be over soon. So I will be able to get these NXT reviews out the day after they air, coming up in the next few weeks, so look forward to that. Please let me know if you're listening. I don't ever get any kind of response about if anybody's listening to this. I know I'm on a big platform with the WWE podcast. I know that Matt gets a lot of listeners from around the globe, and I just want to hear from people. I want to hear, what do you know? What do you see? How do you feel about everything? I want to know about how you feel about the main roster, about NXT, about the podcasts that we do. Let us know. I know that you have the mailbag, and shout out to DJ Kuzma with the Joe Hendry Report. I look forward to that every week. So anyway, moving on to the episode on February 18th of NXT. It's the fallout episode of Vengeance Day, as I said. That took place on the 15th. There were quite a few new developments from that event, including the debut of a new group, which we'll talk about in a second. The group will certainly make its presence felt soon, I'm sure. First, we have Stephanie Vakura. She, again, I said she's the new NXT Women's North American Champion. And the challengers are going to start appearing real soon, I'm sure. And who knows, maybe Jordan Grace will be the first. I don't know. Jordan Grace is main roster ready. I know they want to put her in NXT, probably get some exposure before going up to the main roster or something. I'm not sure exactly why she's on NXT now, but listen, I'm not complaining either. Just the aura of Julia Stephanie and Jordan Grace together is amazing. It's amazing. So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Also tonight we had Ricky Starks come out and sign his official NXT contract, and obviously for copyright reasons they can't be called Ricky Starks, so we found out that his name is Ricky Saints. Either way, it's Ricky. That's all we care about. And he's just because his name changed a little bit doesn't necessarily mean that he's going to be any different than he was in AEW. And if you've seen any of his matches in AEW or prior to that, NWA or the independent circuit, or he's great. He's a great talent. Even The Undertaker, I heard in the Busted Open podcast, The Undertaker talking him up from back in 2015. So that was like 10 years ago. So can't wait to see him. And he's actually going to be wrestling next week, so that's pretty cool. Okay, so we had 4 matches tonight. No, we had a couple matches. We had a bunch of matches tonight, including the signing, and so let's get into it. So first we had Obafemi come out. Now, this episode, when I tell you it was so good, this episode started out with Obafemi coming to the ring, calling out the 4 guys that jumped him last week, which, you know, I guess we figured out from the Performance Center. It's still a work in progress, this whole thing, which is fine. But so he's in the ring and he's calling out the 4 masked men, and he dared them to come back out so he can finish because they didn't finish the job on Saturday of them attacking him. And so as the lights come off and we find out that the person that comes out is not those 4 men, it is probably the only guy that could stand toe-to-toe with Obafemi. Well, one of the only guys. We'll say one of the only guys. And his name is Moose. And he currently is the X Division champion on TNA Wrestling. There was a lot of TNA interaction. Well, not a lot. There was a fair amount of TNA interaction. I think they're really going hot and heavy with this TNA, WWE, NXT, whatever, the NXT-TNA relationship, because there's going to be it seems like there's a lot of crossover. And unfortunately, I don't get the Access channel, so I can't watch TNA, so I got to figure that out. I don't know if I want to throw $10 a month on for TNA, for the TNA broadcast channel. But if more NXT wrestlers are going to be on TNA, then maybe I will. So, Moose. The gentleman's name is Moose. He comes out, and he is a one big dude. Stands toe-to-toe, eye-to-eye with Obafemi, and it looks like we're going to get this match at some point. I don't know if it's going to be at Roadblock, at MSG, which I'm hoping to go to. We'll have to see if that's going to happen. For those of you that know, I live in the Hudson Valley in New York, so it's not that far down to Madison Square Garden. And so I'm hoping that that's where we get the match. It's this. These two are just standing next to each other. It's money. It's money. It's gold. So Moose comes out. He says he wants a match against Femi. He believes that he could defeat the NXT champion, and Obafemi agrees to the match, and they both hold up the titles, which, you know, again, amazing. And by the way, so Moose for a while last year, prior, I believe, to Nick Nemeth winning the TNA title, former Dolph Ziggler, he was the TNA champion. Now he's the TNA X Division champion. The man should always have gold on him as long as he's in TNA, as far as I'm concerned. So, amazing. It was amazing. So then we got in Ava's office backstage, Eddie Thorpe. He's fresh off a strap match victory against Trick Williams. And so, let me talk about the strap match for a second on Vengeance Day. The strap match on Vengeance Day was very entertaining. Really good, typical strap match, except it's weird because they just had a strap match last year, in October, I believe, between CM Punk and Drew McIntyre, and that was the old school touch the four corners. And for some reason, they just decided, don't pay attention to what we did in that match. This is just a match with a strap where eventually the person gets pinned or submits. It was weird, the fact that they did one way and now they're doing another way, but it's fine. Shocking the wrestling community was Eddie Thorpe getting the pinfall on Trick Williams. I feel like, I could be wrong. I've been known to be wrong from time to time. But I could be wrong, but I feel like this is Trick Williams' swan song. They're eventually going to get him up to the main roster, from what I can tell, and this is his way of putting over a new person before he leaves. And that's kind of the general way that things work at NXT. If you know a person's eventually going to go up to the next level, like, okay, for instance, you have Carmelo Hayes. Carmelo Hayes last year was in NXT. I believe it was last year. It was at the end of 23, the beginning of 24. He was going against Trick Williams, and he was about to go to the main roster, and he put Trick Williams over. So now, if the plan is to get Trick to the main roster, which I hope they do, he's ready. I feel like he's ready. Now it's his job to put over the next person. There's a lot of people that are over already. Again, we all know the men's division's not that great. And now with Ricky Starks coming in and possibly other people, Ricky Saint, sorry. I think that this is his job to put somebody over in Eddie Thorpe, so he can move up to the next step. So we'll see what happens. Anyway, Eddie Thorpe comes in, and he's trying to persuade Ava to the NXT Championship opportunity. Uriah Connors and Cale Dixon come in, who were there to invite Ava to a party. They inadvertently interrupt Eddie Thorpe's meeting, and Thorpe makes a remark about Andre Chase. It prompts Dixon to challenge him to a match. So Dixon challenged Eddie Thorpe on behalf of Andre Chase for a match against Eddie Thorpe. And apparently you can do that. That was kind of weird. But that's what happened. So we're going to have, later on, we'll have a match with Eddie Thorpe and Andre Chase. Then we have the first match of the night, women's match, of course, because this division, this NXT is so women heavy as far as talent goes. And so this night began, the first match was a women's match for the number one contendership for the North American Championship. And then the last match was a 6-woman tag, which we'll talk about in a second too. So this match is Jada Parker versus Carmen Petrovich versus Kalani Jordan, again for the number one contenders for the North American title, currently held by Stephanie Vaquer. And it is time for the first challenger to come forward. So Jada, Carmen, and Kalani all have their own issues with each other, so Carmen came out with Ashanti the Adonis, who, if they're a couple, and initially he didn't interfere with the match, but eventually, in order to save Petrovich, he pulled her out of the ring. So this is how the match ended. He pulled Petrovich out of the ring, and when Jada Parker was about to do, after she did a move on Kalani Jordan and was showboating, he threw Carmen Petrovich back in the ring to pin Kalani Jordan. So I had lost this bet. If I was a betting person, I absolutely lost this bet. I never would have thought Carmen Petrovich would have been the number one contender for Stephanie's title. Carmen Petrovich doesn't have a snowball's chance, and you know where, to win that title. I would have guessed probably of the three, Jada Parker, only because Kalani Jordan already won the title, but Kalani and Jada have their own issues, so Carmen Petrovich comes out the number one contender for the North American Championship. So, yeah. After the match, Jordan and Parker are brawling outside the ring before Fatal Influence arrive and beat down Petrovic because they believe that they should get the next shot. One of them should get the next shot of the North American title. Stephanie Vicor comes out for the rescue. So this was weird. On the CW where I was watching it, and I was watching it on, I recorded it on Spectrum, right? So... most of what I'm about to tell you happened during the commercial break. Somebody screwed up with the timing, I think. So they go to commercial break, and Fatal Influence comes in and starts beating down Carmen Petrovic. Again, this is during the break. They throw her out of the ring. Fallon Henley takes a mic. She's saying something on the mic. We have no idea what it is because, again, we're at commercial. There's a picture-in-picture, so you can see what's going on, but you can't hear it because we're in commercial break. Then, while still on commercial break, Stephanie Vicor runs in and saves Carmen Petrovic. Then, again, while on commercial break, Julia comes down and saves Stephanie Vicor. And just after the commercial ended, while Julia and Stephanie were getting kicked in by Fatal Influence, just after the commercial ended, we were back on the show. They hit the siren for Jordan Grace, and she comes out, and basically the three of them beat the crap out of Fatal Influence. It was so weird and so bad, and I'm sitting here watching it, saying out loud by myself, I probably scared my cat. I was saying out loud, what is going on here? Why are they doing this during the commercial? We can see what's going on in a small box on the side, but we can't hear anything of what's going on. I don't know if the announcers were talking. I know that Fallon Henley had a mic. She didn't know what she was saying. And as a result of this whole interaction, they decided to have a 6-woman tag with the 3 members of Fatal Influence versus Julia, Jordan, and Stephanie. So that's the main event for tonight. Next match we have is Sol Ruca and Zarya versus Last Legend and Jakara Jackson. This was a great match. I think, if you've heard me at all, you know that I think Lash and Jakara are awesome. Lash by herself is awesome, but Jakara with her is awesome too. Sol and Zarya, still kind of like working as a team, getting together. I don't know what they're doing with Zarya. I really feel like, both of them, I really feel like there should be singles competitors, but I guess not for now. This match ended, it was a great match, fabulous match. The 4 can go, all 4 of them can go. And, so at the end of the match, Zarya hits, I believe, Jakara Jackson with an F5. They didn't call it an F5, but it's basically an F5 that like Brock Lesnar does. And then Sol Ruca does her Soul Snatcher, which every time I see it amazes me, where she flips off the ropes, off the corner turnbuckle, and goes into a cutter, and she doesn't miss. Like, she hits it every time. It's an awesome move. It was a great match. Sol and Zarya win. It was a really great match. Next we have the Ricky quote Stark / Saints contract signing, and it was an event, very eventful. It was a very eventful contract signing. While in the ring, Ricky cuts a promo. Again, doesn't really talk about his name. He's about to put the pen onto paper to sign, and out comes Ethan Page. Now, again, Ricky, I said this last week, Ricky was a member of AEW up until recently, even though he hadn't been used on TV for a year. And for those of you that don't know, Ethan Page came over last year from AEW as well. So these two have seen each other before. They don't actually say where they came from, but those who know. And by the way, everybody in the Performance Center, they're all super fans of wrestling. Like, they go to NXT every week. Like, if you think about it, these are probably the same people that come every week to see NXT. Like when they're not moving around. Like next week they're going to be in Cincinnati, and on the 11th of March they're going to be in Madison Square Garden in the theater. But these are super fans, so they all know what's going on here. I know because I follow these things. That's just me. So Stacks warns that Paige has many bigger problems than him, and as if on cue, Javon Evans comes out and attacks Paige. Going back to Vengeance Day, I'm kind of mixing in Vengeance Day with the review right now. The match between Ethan Page and Javon Evans at Vengeance Day was stellar. Javon, they're both going to end up in the main roster someday. Javon Evans is a pleasure to watch. He really is so good. I mean, Ethan Page's character work is second to none. But Javon Evans' in-ring work is amazing. And even with a, quote, broken jaw, which we all know that's kayfabe, he is just, the way he does his moves, everything is just so, like, crisp and clean. And next week, we set up a match for next week, which I can't wait. And I guess I'll just ruin it now to an extent. Next week there's going to be a match between Javon Evans and Ricky Saints against Ethan Page and I believe Shawn Spears. So 3 out of 4 of them are former AEW people, which I found interesting. So then the No Quarter Catch crew does an interview with first it's Axiom and Frazier come out and do an interview backstage where they're interrupted by the No Quarter Catch crew. While they're talking to them, Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights shock everyone when they say they want to face real tag team champions, the best tag team champions, and they call out Matt and Jeff Hardy. Yes, you've heard what I said. They called out the Hardy Boys, who are currently the TNA tag team champions, and later on, we get a video from X, and it's the Hardy Boys, and they accepted the challenge, and next week in Cincinnati, for NXT, we are going to have Matt and Jeff Hardy defend the TNA tag team titles on NXT against No Quarter Catch Crew. No Quarter Catch Crew. Yeah, I got it right. Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights. Wow. Just the fact that Hardy Boys are going to be on WWE again is just, I mean, I know it's TNA, but still, it's great. This whole TNA NXT thing that they're doing is just, it's between Moose coming and challenging Oba, and then NQCC challenging the Hardy Boys and them accepting it. It's so good. It's so good. Okay. Then we have Stacks versus Shawn Spears. Shawn Spears is great. Stacks is pretty good. Out of all the matches, I think this is probably my least favorite of the night. Shawn Spears ends up winning. He stands tall at the end of the match with all of the guys from his group after they beat down Stacks. So. Then we have a little thing where Lexis King is in the back and Moose walks by, the TNA X Division champion Moose. He walks by and Lexis King is trying to talk smack, coming off his victory, and Moose says that he will put his TNA X Division championship up against Lexis King next week on NXT. I can't wait. It's going to be awesome. I believe it's on the 25th, whatever next Tuesday is, from Cincinnati. And Cincinnati happens to be Lexis King's hometown, if anybody didn't know that. Also Brian Pillman's hometown was when he was alive. So Lexis King is going to get, he's going to get slaughtered by Moose. I mean, there's not anything going on with the Heritage Cup. Like, that's not anything to do with it. It's all the ex-TNA. So right now, as of now, we have 2 TNA championships on the line for next Tuesday night in Cincinnati. Did you hear what I just said? 2 TNA championships on the line on NXT in Cincinnati next week. Wow. Then we have Andre Chase getting ready, and he's reprimanding Dixon and Connors. He says he can fend for himself and that he will go out to the match by himself. And then we have the match between Andre Chase and Eddie Thorpe. And Andre Chase is doing the whole ho-hum thing still. By the way, again, I don't know if I mentioned this last week. I think I did. Duke Hudson has been released from WWE. So even if Chase University comes back, it's not going to come back with Duke. Thea Hale is still a part of NXT, although she hasn't been seen since the whole breakup of Chase University. I honestly miss Thea Hale. I think she's a little spitfire, and she's a little crazy, and I kind of like that. Andre Chase ends up losing basically because he needs a therapist really badly. And then at the end of the match, Trick Williams appears on the screen and he promises to take Eddie Thorpe down with him. So he wasn't there that night, but he was. I mean, they're going to run it back again between Eddie and Trick. Maybe some other way besides a strap match, maybe a cage or something. Who knows? We'll have to see. Then we have. Then there's a tag team match set for next week. I already kind of mentioned this before, and it's So okay, I'm sorry, I was wrong. It's not Shawn Spears. So backstage, we've got Ricky Saints and Wesley having an argument, and they're joined by. Sorry if you hear that in the background. That's my cat playing with the scratchy thing. And they're joined by Evans and Paige, who are also arguing, and Ava decides to make a tag team match. So it's going to be Ricky Saints and Javon Evans versus Wesley and Ethan Page. And let me tell you, that is going to be like this. Cincinnati is going to be insane next week. We've got that tag team match. We've got, again, Moose and Lexus King. We've got the Hardys and No Quarter Catch Crew. I mean, man, I cannot wait for this. So now at the end we have Julia, Stephanie, and Jordan against Fatal Influence. And like, Julia, Stephanie, and Jordan Grace are three of the best women's wrestlers, not just at NXT. They're three of the best women's wrestlers, period, end of story. I got backtracked. Fatal Influence, they're good. They're really good. JC Jane, really good. Fallon Henley, really good. Jasmine Nix, I'm still kind of figuring out. But they are not even in the same atmosphere as Julia, Stephanie, and Jordan, and let's just say they got crushed. It was a great match. It was a great main event. It got the three of them to stand tall at the end of the match. You know, these days I'm almost kind of expecting something's going to happen after the credits, after the whole Paul Levesque, Shawn Michaels, and Lee Fitting executive producer credits. But yeah, it was a great match. It just put a bow on the entire night. And by the way, I said this was a great episode, and it is. But the reason why it was great, a lot of the reason why it was great, is because it set up next week's looks like even better episode potentially. I hope. It seems. I can't wait. I know I keep saying that, but whew. So then, right before we get to the end, so the show ends, and right before we get to the end, as I said, you kind of half expect something's going to happen. You got those masked men again, and they basically attacked a whole bunch of people in the back. They were already gone, it seemed like, but there's a whole bunch of people laying on the ground, moaning and groaning that they got hurt. So we'll have to see more about that. Like again, from what it seems, this is kind of like. If you watched in the past on the main roster, you had either Nexus or the Shield. They kind of came up from NXT, in separate times, and kind of like infiltrated the main roster. This is from what I hear in the things that the research that I do. It seems like these are 4 Performance Center guys that are invading NXT. So like, there's a kind of level below NXT, which is the Performance Center, they call it. I forgot what they call it, but either way. So these, from the way it sounds like, these are 4 guys that are coming up to attack people from the level below to make a mark. So we shall see how this plays out. Yeah. So that's pretty much what happened. I mean, listen, I know, again, I apologize for the Vengeance Day review, but this is my review for Tuesday, and it was just, Obafemi, of course, on Vengeance Day. If you could have bet the house that he would have beaten both Grayson Waller and Austin Theory, and he did. So let me know what you think. Don't forget Patreon, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and let me know what you think. And in the meantime, I will see you next week. Again, watch, if you know anybody that thinks they may want to watch NXT but hasn't yet, have them watch Saturday or next Tuesday. Have them watch, and it's on free TV. Even if you don't have, which is weird, but to me, but even if you don't have a cable or like Wi-Fi, you can watch it on regular like antenna TV if you live in a major city, because it's on the CW. So give it a shot. Tell them to watch. I hope I'm not talking this show up and then all of a sudden it's going to suck. I hope that doesn't happen, but we shall see. In the meantime, I will see you guys soon. Thank you very much, and can't wait to tell you how next week goes. Bye.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to WWEpodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.